Okay, here's another book, boys and girls, by Nicola Davies, and it's illustrated by James Croft. This is one of my favorite Nicola Davies books. It's called Surprising Sharks. So as I read this, I want you to be thinking about why she titled this Surprising Sharks. Okay, and if you look here, again, before the title page, she gives us lots of information about different types of sharks. So this is the whale shark, and he's 39 feet and 4 inches. But this is the lemon shark that's only 10 feet, 7 inches. And then we have the cookie cutter shark, which is 16 inches. So she shows you all different types of sharks, and she also gives you information about how big they are. They're kind of interesting. Okay, so sometimes they're that little. Surprising sharks. And look at this, you just see the fin of the shark. I love the way she starts the story. You're swimming in the warm blue sea. What's the one word that turns your dream into a nightmare? What's the one word that makes you think of a giant man-eating killer? Shark! And look at this. You see just 2 little feet. So she's saying, what's your biggest fear? You know, you're in the ocean, you're living the dream, but what's the one word that might turn your dream into a nightmare? That word shark. Shark? Yes, it's a shark. That is a shark right there. It's a dwarf lanternshark. It's the smallest kind of shark in the world, just bigger than a chocolate bar. Not a giant, certainly no man-eater, and a killer only if you happen to be a shrimp. So this kind of a shark, the dwarf lanternshark, eats shrimp. Okay, so I don't think before I read this book, I never realized that there were sharks that were that small. You see, most sharks are not at all what you might expect. After all, you would expect a shark to have built-in, after all, who would expect a shark to have built-in fairy lights or blow up like a party balloon? So this shark is called a lantern shark, and the black belly has light-making organs on its tummy. They help it to blend in with the silvery surface of the sea and avoid ending up as dinner for bigger fish. So its belly lights up. And this one is called the swell sharks, and they swallow water when they get scared. They blow up to 3 times their normal size, so they stick food between rocks, and then no predator can pull them out. So they just stick themselves in between there. And then this one is called a wabagont. Did you know that he lies on the sea floor like a scrap of old carpet? So if you were swimming and you looked down at the bottom of the ocean, you would think it looked like a little carpet, but it's really a shark. And the Australian shark is called a wabagont. Its patterned skin matches the rocks and coral on the sea floor, so it can sneak up on shellfish, crabs, and small fish without being seen. So it's kind of like camouflaged. Okay? Oh my gosh, look at this page. Or look like tools from a monster's toolkit. This is what we call a hammerhead shark. Hammerhead shark has eyes and nostrils on the ends of their hammers. They help to pinpoint the scent of prey and give them all around vision. So look at this shark. Doesn't his head look like a hammer that you would hammer nails with? So that is why they call him a hammerhead. And look at what Nicola Davies does. She gives us some information and puts it just in the shape of the hammerhead shark. And then this one down here is a saw shark, and they use their swords to root out fish hidden in sand and then grab them with needle-sharp teeth. So they almost use it as a little saw, and that's why it's called a saw shark. In fact, sharks come in all shapes and sizes. Look at, these are all different types of sharks, and what she does is she labels them. Okay, that's another thing that she likes to do. She labels. So this one's called the goblin shark. This one's called the cookie cutter shark. This one's called the angel shark, the nurse shark, and the blue shark. Okay, so you can kind of see why he kind of looks like a goblin. And this is a really cool page. This shows you the outside. How can such different animals all be sharks? Look carefully and you'll see all of the things that they share. So she says they all might look different on the outside, but they all have these basic things on the outside. They all have a tail, they all have a fin, they all have skin, they all have gill slits right there, and the gill slits are for breathing, okay? There's a very thin layer of skin that lets oxygen from the water get into the shark's blood, just as our lungs let oxygen from the air into our blood when we breathe. We breathe in, we get oxygen to our blood, they breathe in here, and they get, the gill slits let the oxygen into their blood. And then fins and tail are for swimming. So that's where the fins are and the tail. So she wants you to label everything on the outside, okay? This is what we call a diagram. A lot of people that write nonfiction books put diagrams in. And then she says these are what all sharks have on the inside. They all have teeth, they all have jaws, they all have a skeleton, but it isn't the basic body plan that makes sharks sharks. Let's see, so basically they all have that in their body, okay? But it's the sharkish way they behave. Whoops, I've loved this book so much that it's falling apart. Sharks are always hungry, and they're always on the lookout for their next meal. Some even start killing before they're born. So when they're in their mother's belly growing, they might eat, sometimes they eat each other, which is kind of interesting, okay? And some sharks lay eggs, and some give birth to live young. So some of them lay eggs, but some of them give birth just like we do. We don't lay eggs, right? People, we just have babies. Same thing with some of these sharks. But all baby sharks are just like their parents, with sharp teeth and the ability to hunt right from the start. So the babies have sharp teeth right away, and the babies start hunting right away, okay? And again, she gives you a little bit of information here. This is a sand tiger shark, and they give birth to just 2 live young, which is all that's left after those other 2 have eaten the other 6 babies in their mother's belly. So typically that's what happens when they're in her belly. Sometimes most of them get eaten except for 2, okay? Sharks' senses are fine-tuned, ready for the tiniest hint that might mean food. So sharks have tiny holes to let sound into their inner ears, and they can hear sounds that are too low for our ears to pick up. Sharks' eyes are on the side of their head, right? So they can see animals as well behind them as in front. So they have vision from the back and the front, okay? And to a hungry shark, the faintest trail of clues is as clear as a restaurant sign. So they can see, their vision is very good, okay? And they have gel-filled pits in a shark's nose can detect food. Every animal has nerves, which are like cables carrying electrical messages around the body. The shark's gel pits, the gel pits can sense this electricity. So if they sense a little fish near, this is what helps them do that, the gel-filled pits, okay? There's lots of information. I'm not going to read all of it. Maybe someday if you get this book, you can read additional information. And when at last they're close enough for the kill, they feel the crackle of their prey's living nerves, so they bite in just the right place no matter what the prey, whether it's plankton. And if you don't know what plankton is, this is a basking shark, and it sucks in more than 10,000 quarts of plankton-filled water an hour. Plankton is the name for the many kinds of teeny tiny animals and plants that drift around the sea with the wind and the tide. So they're very tiny, they kind of look like this, and this shark sucks in more than 10,000 quarts an hour of plankton. That's a lot of plankton. Or people. Oh yes, it's true, some sharks do kill people, about 6 of us every year. Okay, so in a year, sharks kill 6 people around the world, about that much, okay? The great white shark is one of just 3 species of shark that attack people regularly. The other 2 are the bull shark and the tiger shark. Only 30 of the 500 different kinds of sharks have ever attacked humans. Crocodiles, elephants, dogs, even pigs kill more people every year than sharks do. Huh, who knew? So sharks don't kill that many of us, but every year people kill 100 million sharks. 100 million we kill, but they only kill 6 of us. Huh. And this is what happens when after we kill the sharks, sharks are made into machine grease. This is a shark tooth necklace, cattle feed, a shark skin wallet, fertilizer, shark fin soup, shark skin shoes, an aftershave. Oh, aftershave, kind of like perfume, but for men. Fish and chips, and then skin cream. Oftentimes skin cream. They use sharks to make skin cream. So, if you were a shark swimming in the lovely blue sea, the last word you'd probably want to hear would be human. If I were a shark and I saw a human, right, or heard the word human, I would be scared because we kill 100 million of them. So here's the index. So it gives you information and the page that it's on, okay? And it, again, she reminds us, look up the pages to find out about all these shark things. Don't forget to look at both kinds of words, this kind and the little kind. And she tells us more information about sharks here. Sharks have been on Earth for 300 million years and can be found today in every ocean and sea in the world. People see sharks as monsters, but of the 500 different kinds of sharks in the world, only 30 have ever attacked humans, and most feed on shellfish and small fishes. Sharks are predators. They kill only to eat and are as important in the sea as wolves, lions, tigers, and bears are on land. Okay? So only 30 of those 500 different kinds of sharks actually do like to eat people. Okay? Nicola, but again here, let's read this article, read this about the author part, because it's going to give us some insight into maybe why she wrote this book. Nicola Davies is a zoologist and a writer with a special love of the sea. She has been basking sharks off the coast of England and once came face to face with a shark while she was snorkeling, a baby spotted dogfish that was the size of a sardine. So a sardine's probably about that big. So the shark that she saw was not very big, thank goodness. As sharks have been on Earth a lot longer than humans, she feels they deserve our respect and protection. Okay? So it gives us a little insight as to why she's writing these books. She wants people to learn more about them, to appreciate them. Okay? That's her point of view. That's her opinion. Maybe if somebody else felt like they were very dangerous, they may write a different book, okay? But I think what Nicola Davies was trying to do, remember I asked you at the very beginning to think about why do you think she chose to title this book Surprising Sharks? talk to the person next to you about why you think that. And then you could pause it here if you want. I think that she wanted to give us some interesting information that it surprised us. I think most of the time people think they are very dangerous, and she was trying to give us information that showed that maybe they're not as dangerous, and actually we're more dangerous to them. We kill 100 million of them every year. My gosh. So you learned a lot of information about sharks, didn't you? Okay. Talk to the person next to you about something new that you never learned before or you never knew before, okay? She is so smart. She knows so much about so many different animals. So after you talk, now you can check my little chart here. Okay, we learned from Nicola Davies that sharks come in all different shapes and sizes. A dwarf lantern shark is just bigger than a chocolate bar. Sharks are always hungry. All baby sharks have sharp teeth and hunt from the moment they are born. We learned that, right? Sharks kill about 6 people every year, and every year people kill 100 million sharks. So what I did was, and this is something that you might want to do at home, you can make your own book about sharks, okay? So I'm going to call my book Sharks, with a big exclamation point, and I put by Mrs. Pelletier, and then on the first page I wrote, sharks are always hungry, and because I knew that was one of the facts that we learned from Nicola Davies, so I just drew the shark and some other little fish, and then I decided to draw a couple of different types of sharks, and I wrote, sharks come in all different shapes and sizes. So I took her technique. She did that every now and then, didn't she? She makes her words in the shape of the sharks. So I tried that out. That's something that you can do. And then I wrote about the dwarf lanternshark, and I put a dwarf lanternshark is just bigger than a chocolate bar. So I drew it, and then I drew the Hershey chocolate bar, just to show the difference, okay? So that's something, I mean, we could take another, maybe we could say, sharks kill about 6 people every year. Maybe that could be another page that we put on. And if I did that, I would probably draw something like this because his mouth is open. So again, you want to do a little drawing lesson with me, you could take a piece of paper out and either a pencil or a black marker. I always like to draw first in pencil sometimes, and then I outline in black marker to really make it pop, and then I color it. But here, if we do this, let's start on the side here. We can go up a little bit, and then it looks like a triangle to me here, right? Right? And then it goes up into that arc again. Ooh. And then down. And then we've got another kind of a half arc here, right? So I'm going to do it here, and then another arc here, and down, straight down. And of course, we have to put their gums right here, and we've got to put these teeth, which look like triangles. Okay, and right here, and we've got a nice big eye, and it looks to me like there's another circle in the middle, and then there's a little bit of color, so I could put a line here, and when I color it in, I can do this part black, and this part I can leave white, and I can write, what did we say? Sharks kill about 6 people every year. So sharks, I know how to write that because it's right there. Sharks. And kill. Kill starts just like kite. And I know the word will. So kill and will have the same ending, right? Sharks kill about. About. So if you don't know how to write the words, you can say the word slowly and see what sounds you hear. About. Well, I hear the word out. Sharks kill about 6 people. E. There's a little O that you don't hear. People. The next part has people. L and a silent E. Sharks kill about 6 people every starts like egg, it's ER, not just R, ever E. Sounds like an E, but at the end, it's sometimes words that sound like they end in an E, they end with a Y, okay? Sharks kill about 6 people every year. And I'm going to put an exclamation point, okay? And then you can color it in. And then you could add more pages. I think I've got about 6 pages in my book, okay? So take time, boys and girls, to write about some of these new interesting facts that you're learning about from Nicola Davies.